Hey everyone, welcome to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across the UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, Kanessa. Hello, Kanessa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, for those of you that don't know, Kanessa is founder and CEO of Mulu, which is a plus size futuristic brand for women. That's a lot to unpack in one sentence. Please, Kanessa, tell me your story of how this came to be.
So, before I start telling my story, I just like to refer myself. Of course, founder is nice, but I like to when people ask me, what do you do for a living? I always tell them I'm a problem solver. That's the core of everything that, I do basically in my daily life. I see a problem, I fix it. And that's basically what also happened with Mulu. So I was a plus size woman 6 years ago. I was pregnant. And before I got pregnant, I was a power lifter. And my goal was never to lose weight. Actually, if you wanted to become or be stronger, you had to gain weight. And that was actually my goal. And I went to the gym 5-6 times a week to, I wanted to become stronger. And yes, I know. It's so crazy after having kids, it's unimaginable. But there was a time where I went to the gym, let's say 5 times. I think that's more realistic, 5 times a week, because I was really working on becoming this physical strong woman. I was doing, deadlifts of 150 kilos, and I wanted to work up towards 200 kilos. It was a lot, but it made me feel stronger. So then I got pregnant, and I was already wearing a size extra large. I was wearing leggings, so I was already wearing an extra large legging. Then I got pregnant and I gained weight. I was feeling that I was gaining weight. And I told my husband, well, that's it. I don't have any sportswear after this, because all the brands I wore went up to extra large. So I was like, okay, well, if, I quit the workouts, I think around the 8th month or so. And I was like, okay, if I can't find it, I might as well just make it myself, because, it's a problem that I'm facing and I need to fix the issue. In this case, it was an issue. So I started designing. I had literally zero knowledge of fashion. The only thing I knew is I need leggings bigger than size extra large. So I started making some simple designs. I found someone who could make them for me. And basically that's it. I fixed my problem. And when I delivered the baby, afterwards, I had bigger leggings. I went to the gym with those, and people, because of course the colors were bright, and I was, totally like, it was my taste. They were full of life, just like me. So I went to the gym with those leggings, and people were like, hey, what is this? Where did you get this from? Or, because usually plus size brands are not fashionable, especially back then. The industry wasn't as big as it is now, and still tiny compared to, the other part of the fashion industry. So yeah, that's how it basically started. It was never the idea to create a brand. And before I knew it, I think it's the last 1.5 years that it turned into a brand and I took it seriously. Before that, it was really, it was just a hobby. And when you start seeing all these, because at first it was word to mouth, and then it turned into a web shop, and all of a sudden this web shop I was only packing orders. All of a sudden it was just so much. It was so much than just creating leggings and selling them. So I had to create collections, I had to do marketing, I had to do PR, and that's basically how this whole process went. And I remember I started from still the smallest size is medium. Although you can debate if that's plus size or not, but in some parts of the world, medium is quite plus size, depending on the body frame. And it goes all the way up until up to 7X. And we are actually also considering 8XL. And for some parts of the world, that might sound extreme, but there are parts of the world like the US where it's quite common.
That's incredible.
So yeah, in short.
In short, that's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that introduction. It's obviously like body positivity and body image is a topic that we don't necessarily discuss very openly every single day in our society. I know that it's 2023 and that we are much more we're trying to be much more welcoming to all different shapes and sizes, but unfortunately it's still something that is considered taboo in some parts of the world. So I know that firstly, it's incredible that you were able to start this even just to solve a problem, as you said, knowing that there was something that made you feel more comfortable, and therefore you chose to do something different instead of just kind of sitting around and hoping for something else to appear. You took initiative and you were proactive and you thought, I'm going to find a solution to this. So having said that, do you want to talk to me a bit more about how kind of the technology element is weaved into this brand?
So the technology element, it's a problem on its own, basically, because, in 6 years, I gained a lot of knowledge, but I still, I have problems with I don't want to say problems, but I have a thing. When I look at the fashion industry, it's still so, basically plus size is still non-existing in the current fashion industry, which makes no sense because by now, especially in some continents, the majority of the population is plus size. And I think Asia is the only continent that still, is balancing. It's like 50-50, but people are getting bigger and bigger. But the fashion industry is not catching up to that, which makes no sense. So when you look at plus size, I have to explain a little bit here, because if you have, let's say, a size small, a body frame of size small, a lot of brands basically take that small size, make it bigger and call it plus size. But that's not how it works. As a human body grows, the shape, the proportions are different. Because if you're small, you have a certain frame, and it basically mostly is similar to all size small in this case. So size S is, if you're a size S, you can fit in most small or size small items or clothes or pieces. But if you're an XL, for example, or 2XL, that's not how it works. If I have something with no stretch, especially 2XL, if I give it to a woman that usually wears a 2XL, there's a literally 50% chance that it might not fit her. But if I give it to another woman who usually wears a size 2XL, it might fit her because the body proportions are different. Some gain weight around the belly, some gain weight around the hips, some gain, I think we've all seen them. Some gain around the arms. It's so different. So it's basically impossible to work with certain fabrics that have no stretch. But for some reason, the fashion industry in general, they don't know about this, or they didn't do research about this simple fact, or they just assume that, oh, if you're bigger, you get bigger, so the size might also get bigger and you'll fit in them. That's not how it works. So then we go to the problem part. What is the problem in this case is usually the fitting part, because for a plus size person, it's usually impossible to buy something by looking at it. It's just unimaginable. While now I lost a lot of weight and I wear a size small, I never fit any clothes. I can just buy size small and I know it fits. This wasn't the case when I was bigger. So how do we fix that element? Because I am a web shop. Although I'm expanding to stores, my core business is a web shop. So how do I fix that problem? Because I know a lot of women deal with that insecurity. Like, how do I make sure this item fits me? Especially if for some people, it might be, finance-wise, it might be a huge chunk, So I thought, I'm going to make an avatar, digital avatar, very simple, that allows me to adjust the shape digitally, so 3D. So let's say I have a 70 centimeter arm, or I have I don't know, let's say my waist is 50 centimeters or 80 centimeters. I'll fill in those measurements digitally, like in that system, and the avatar will basically adjust to my measurements. And when that happens, I can actually drag the clothes on that avatar, and I will see if this item will fit me or not. So this is a beta. We're testing this idea, which means, so let's say you shop on my you are my web shop, you add things in your cart, and then go to the avatar, and then just check if these items fit or not. And it doesn't have to be very complicated. You can see by the centimeters if there's still space. How do I explain it? So if this avatar is bigger than the actual shirt or the legging, you will know it won't fit. So that's basically how I'm trying to incorporate this new digital space into a traditional fashion store, basically.
That's incredible. You have literally thought of everything that is wrong with fashion and with style, and you've put it all into one company, and you haven't even done it with like you said, like a in-person retail outlet as of yet. That's incredible. The fact that you have thought ahead to the point of, okay, if I'm the consumer and the clothes that I try on at the usual store don't fit me, what is the best way that I can make sure that what I'm buying online in the the current size that I am is actually going to fit me? And the fact that you have considered like the fabrics and what current retailers are offering is incredible. I mean, wow, you're super smart.
Thank you. I must admit, I'm not the best when it comes to marketing, but I'm good at looking at my own problems. And I think we all know what we're dealing with. And if we find a solution for it, it's like in 99% of the cases, we're not the only one. So there are other people also dealing with those issues.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So in the kind of context of what you're saying to me now, with the incredible journey that you've had, what would you say has been your biggest obstacle?
I think if I look back and if I would advise others, it would definitely be more. I feel it's two-sided here. On one side, I feel like do some more research. Try to don't be like me. I jumped in this. I was hormonal probably, and I was like, I have this problem crying, and I'm like, oh, I cannot go back to the gym, and boom, I started this. But doing a little bit more research would definitely help me prevent a lot of mistakes. And it, of course, cost me a lot of money. These mistakes, I don't know why, but in business, mistakes cost you a lot of money. But I see them as lessons, and I'm happy and I'm very grateful for those lessons. But on the other side, or on the other hand, I feel like don't overthink, because I've seen people with like beautiful, amazing business plans, but I can tell you that it's not going to go like that. Whatever is on that paper, it's not going according to plan. And that's a hard reality of having your own business. And of course, the difficult times, it's just, there's a lot, but you need those lessons. I don't want to call them struggles, but you need the lessons that come out of those issues that you're facing or will face.
100%. No, 100%. It's definitely, like you said, it's really important to make sure that you have thoroughly done your homework, right? So you're not just thinking like your consumer, but you're also thinking, what is the most feasible way to get this product across to my consumer? Making sure you've taken into consideration the logistics of it, making sure you've taken into consideration the pros and the cons. So it is really important, as you said, to make sure that you've done your research, or else, like you said, it's going to cost you a lot of money. But having said that, in the process of like the trial and error of bringing this kind of brand together, is there any kind of like funny or crazy story that you might want to share with the listeners today?
Well, in that case, it's more personal, I think, because I've always dreamt of, I come from a traditional family. I always knew that my parents wanted me to be either a lawyer or a doctor. And I said, fine, I'll be a doctor, because I hate reading boring books. So I said, no, I'm not going to be a lawyer. Although I like the work. I just don't like. I like lawyers, but I don't like the work that you need to do to become a lawyer. So I said, fine, I'll be a doctor. And they sent me to medicine school. I finished my bachelor's degree, and that's it. I said, you asked me to do this. You wanted me to become this doctor. I basically did whatever you asked me. Now it's time to do something that I like. So I received my degree. I put it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I put it somewhere, and I said, now I'm going to do, and whatever makes me happy. Because let's be real, the reason why my parents force me, I don't want to say force me, but the reason why they wanted me to become a doctor is so they can tell the rest of the family how awesome their daughter is, or the rest of their friends back home, in Ethiopia, how great I'm doing. But I think now, looking back, they're definitely proud of. They were nervous in the beginning, but they always had this idea like, okay, at least you have your degree, so if it fails, you can always go back to whatever we forced you to be. And it's true, in a way, they're right. But I never dreamt of having this traditional, I could be a doctor, I could have been at least, and have this perfect family with a husband and children and etc. I never dreamt of that. I never thought it was something I had to aim for. But now I have it all. I have the business, I have my husband and the kids. So yeah, without giving up my dreams. And I have the degrees, so my parents can still brag, and I think they do to their friends.
Wow. All I can say is wow. The fact that not only did you get to do what you wanted to do at the end of the day, and also by solving a problem that you had, but you were also able to tick that box of like, you know what, I got the degree, I knew I could do it, you knew I could do it, it's with me now. I don't know where it is, but it's where it exists. And the fact that you're able to get through all of that, that's incredible. And all I can say is I am just, I hope that my listeners, as well as I am, are inspired to just follow our dreams and make sure that we're doing something to help people feel better about themselves and help make a positive impact in the community. Because at the end of the day, we have to help each other out and do whatever we can to make our lives as good as we can, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's also important to, in some cultures at least, it's very important to satisfy your family to a certain extent. I don't say you have to do everything they say, but it's very important to satisfy them as well. Because I think if I wouldn't done the university part, even if I would be the next Elon Musk, they would still be like, yeah, but it's useless because because he never
fair
went to
enough.
university. So.
Cool. Well, it's been an
yeah.
absolute pleasure speaking with you, Kanessa. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible story. I think a lot of us have learned a lot today just by kind of hearing about all the things that you've gone through and the successes that you've been able to achieve. So a huge well done to you for the incredible kind of achievements that you've had up until now. I'm sure that when we see Mulu in stores, we're going to be thinking of you and remembering your name. So that's awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for joining the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely day and speak soon. Bye.